This is Rich Kale here on YouTube, Rich Gen X elsewhere, and it is time for us to return to Lamplight City. Now, if you remember our last appointment, we were just starting the second case. And it involves a missing child. So let's head off to the Harris residence.
Mr. Miles Fordham is here to see you, sir.
Very good, Mr. Havelock. Send him up.
Yes, sir.
Alright. We may be on a time limit here.
Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Fordham. I'm Malcolm Harris.
I'm terribly sorry to hear about what's happened, Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Fordham. You were very highly recommended by Miss Upton. She said you'd be able to solve this faster and more discreetly than the police.
Yes.
I admit it's a rather unorthodox approach, but we're desperate.
I understand. I'll do all I can to find the kidnapper and bring your son back unharmed.
If you'd like to examine the nursery, it's just through that door to the left. I'll ask you to please try and keep quiet as I just sent my wife to bed. Her nerves are rather shot, you see.
Yes, of course.
Okay. So let's see.
It's nice to see that tea is still served here even in times of tragedy. I'm sure the only location the Harrises care about is wherever they are at any given moment. I wouldn't get too close, Miles. That vase is probably worth more than your entire building. She looks like she's up to something. The Harris family certainly has a nice view from which to look down upon the world. I wonder if they use the balcony to give speeches to the gardeners. I know the hand and waistcoat pose is supposed to look stately, but to me it always looks like the person is scratching themselves.
Yeah. Alright. Let's talk
I
with
have some
him
questions
first.
for you, Mr. Harris.
No doubt you do, but I'm really not in the mood to talk right now. It's been a difficult evening, and I'm not certain I have it in me to answer your questions at the moment.
Fair enough, but I will need to ask you about the incident at some point.
Yes, that's fine. Just not now.
Okay. Alright, let's go look in the nursery.
The steam-powered bottle warmer. Certainly beats having to do it in the fireplace. Or in the case of my parents, over a barrel fire. Look at that. The kid has a toy chest. My sister and I used to have to keep our toys buried in the backyard. Of course, that is because the only toys we had were dead rats. My friend Bunny. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want a giant imaginary rabbit for a friend.
Hey, Harvey was a good friend.
Bear's picnic. Something about a group of giant human-like bears eating together in the woods is slightly unsettling. Some sort of fuzzy animal wearing a waistcoat. Charming.
Maybe it's Paddington. No, it's a bit too, Let's check this.
That's odd. Why is there a loose button in the crib? Now, I'm no expert on children, but it seems like it would be dangerous to have around an infant.
Very true, it would be.
If only the flower shop burglar was as easy to find as this clue was. Nice mobile. Custom made, too. There'll be no mistaking what family this child comes from. The kidnapper left the child's blanket behind. There doesn't appear to be any trace of the silver spoon, though.
Now, that does seem odd.
Oh dear.
Uh-oh.
Ah, wonderful. The soporific has started working. Well done, Fordham. Now how are you supposed to... What's the word I'm looking for?
Instigate? Interrogate? I just had it on the tip of my tongue.
Perhaps it's time to call it a note.
That's interesting. But sleep is more interesting. To sleep, a chance to dream.
Oh boy. Let's, depart here.
No, it's all good now. He'll know it's all wrong.
All right. Let's,
Well, Mr. Harris, I believe I've done all I can for right now.
Did you find anything?
Yes,
I believe I have
it's
some
to pursue.
But the most important thing to do in cases like this is wait to hear from the kidnappers. I'll be back tomorrow morning to continue my investigation and ask you and your wife some questions. Once you've had that time to calm down a bit. In the meantime, I suggest you stay here and get some sleep. Well, I'll need it.
well, that was just messed up. Oh, boy.
Miles, wake up. It's nearly noon.
Ah, so it is.
Oy vey.
Why didn't you come to bed when you got home last night?
It was late. I didn't want to disturb you.
So what was so urgent about the case Upton sent you?
I'm trying to track a kidnapped child.
Oh my goodness. That's awful.
Yes, the pressure's on, but I think I should be able to crack it.
Assuming you actually managed to get anything done at the Harris Manor today.
Well, let me know if there's anything I can do to help. Also, we've got company. Miss Stella's having her hair done here today, so please make yourself presentable.
You mean I'm not all ready?
At least do something about your hair. I do have a reputation to maintain after all.
What's wrong with my hair?
Do you really want me to answer that? We'll be here all day.
Yeah.
Pretty. Oh, when you say it's so.
Right.
When you talk about that.
Never mind.
All right. I guess we're going to have to go on.
You should have let me be buried wearing my hat. At least it wouldn't be gathering dust like it is now.
If I'd done that, it would be dust right now.
Heh. Fair point.
All right. I wish I didn't have a comb.
And then he said, "Oh, hello there. I don't believe we've met."
Mrs. Delacroix, this is my husband, Miles. Miles, this is Mrs. Delacroix.
Pleasure to meet you, madam.
Likewise, young man. Pleasure.
Is everything all right, Mrs. Delacroix?
Oh, yes, everything's fine. It's just that, well, you weren't what I was expecting, is all.
Keep your head, Miles. She may be a close-minded idiot, but she's just an old lady.
Now I have a phone call, but I can get it later.
What were you expecting exactly?
Well...
Now then, Mrs. Delacroix, what was it that you were telling me about Mr. Delacroix and his dogs?
Oh, yes. So, Harold came in and said...
Impressive. She got off pretty easy. I was expecting a repeat of the Parsons incident. You should give Adelaide a kiss on the way out, though, just to make the old bat feel extra uncomfortable.
Yeah, I like that idea. Let's see. Check the newspaper real quick. Dupree's scandal shocks Glasgow society. Was made to appear dead almost in a shocking turn of events. It was discovered that Madame Dupree had been torturing her servants, even going so far as to keep one locked in a hidden room. The servant unfortunately died. Dupree was arrested for manslaughter and will stand trial in the coming months. The suspected assailant, Albert Martin, was released with a full pardon. Public opinion has quickly turned against Dupree, with many claiming that she got what she deserved. A signed confession was given by a Guy Dumas, but police have been unable to locate him. Alright.
She can get his...
Alright.
Addie?
Not right now, Miles. I'm busy. We can talk once I finish with Mrs. Delacroix.
Okay. Well then, it's off. Yeah, I guess Goodbye.
Goodbye, dearest.
I look forward to your return, my love.
I like that idea. Alright, so let's go back to the Harris residence.
Remind me, Miles, how is finding some rich people's kidnapped baby going to help us track down the flower shop burglar?
Oh!
I'm not interested in the burglar right now. I want to help these people and get their child back. Or at the very least, help them find out what happened to him.
Right. Well, you'll need your full wits about you if you plan on doing that.
Very true.
I do have my full wits about me. I'm perfectly capable of doing this.
Yes, and I'm perfectly capable of being alive. I just choose to be this way because it saves on the laundry expenses. You can't deny it. You need to stop taking the soporific, Miles. Adelaide has been trying to get you to stop for months, and Upton already suspects something is amiss. Not to mention your little episode last night. Trust me, no one is going to want to hire the dullard detective.
Clever. Did you come up with that one all by yourself?
What are you going to do when the cases stop coming in? How long before you get put away in Riverview?
If I do get locked away, it'll be your fault.
Which is exactly why you need to get back to your normal routine so you can find the burglar.
All right, fine. I'll stop. But you know that doesn't guarantee we'll find the burglar any sooner.
Yeah, I'm aware, but it increases the odds significantly. Well, I'm glad that's settled then. I knew you'd see things my way eventually.
It's not as though you gave me much of a choice.
In time, you'll thank me. Probably not before the withdrawal hits, though.
Don't make me change my mind on this, Bill.
Alright.
Mr. Fordham, you're back. Allow me to introduce my wife, Miriam.
Hello.
A pleasure, Mrs. Harris. I wish we could have met under better circumstances, but I assure you I'm doing all I can to find your son.
Thank you, Mr. Fordham.
Mr. Harris, has there been any communication from the kidnapper?
None at all.
Well, I'll have another look around, if you don't mind.
Okay. Let's go in the nursery real quick.
Miles, didn't you notice something a bit strange about the Harrises?
Indeed.
Quite a few things, actually. What are you referring to?
The son was just kidnapped. Yet they're each on their own side of the city.
Not comforting each other, not crying together. Nothing.
They're stuck up rich people. Not exactly that type of show emotion.
Miles,
Yeah.
I'm the most person there is when it comes to their type. But this isn't normal behavior. Even for snobs.
Yes.
Those people they face. There's something going on between them. I think we should find out what.
Very true. Alright, let's see what we find here.
Interesting. This fabric looks as though it came from a garment of some kind.
Yes, it does.
Huh. There's a small emblem sewn onto the side of this piece of fabric. It just says SS.
Somebody's initials, maybe?
Well, I hope it isn't the SS.
Probably won't be another year or so before the child gets any practical use out of those blocks beyond putting them in his mouth. Be careful not to cut yourself, Miles. I don't think the Harris family has ever seen blood that isn't blue. Be careful not to... Look. You can see the balcony extends all the way around the side of the manor.
That would make it rather easy for someone to access this window from the outside.
Yes.
Evidence it was used to smash glass.
Yes.
It looks rather flimsy. Let's not try sitting on it.
Alright. So what's going on here? Can I open these doors?
Harris family certainly has a nice... I wonder if they...
Let's go into their bedroom now. Now I want to do a little searching in here.
Fancy. So our servers probably gonna get a flogging for leaving in here, though. It looks like some island women's clothes. Must belong to Mrs. Harris.
But let's
No clothes.
Miriam, baby, I have to see you tonight. It's been far too long. Are?
Right mind would need that many drawers.
Yeah.
Let's see what we have here.
Yeah.
Very poorly written letter addressed to Mr. Harris.
I don't suppose it's a letter of admiration.
No.
On the contrary, the author seems quite upset.
Yes. Mr. Harris, this is your weekly reminder of how much I hate you. Because of you, my wife is dead. My wife was a wonderful woman, and you have taken her from me. I hope you suffer as much as I have. Arthur Devons. I feel for Mr. Devons. Honestly, I do.
Nothing else of note in any of the drawers.
Oh well, at least we got to play a rousing game of search the rich people's dresser.
Nothing.
Oh well. Wardrobes are usually always full of wonderfully dark secrets.
Yes. So let's check it out.
An empty suitcase. I suppose Mr. Harris must travel every now and then.
Yeah?
One thing is for certain. Mr. Harris uses entirely too much starch on his shirts.
No, really?
One thing is for... Yeah, it seems like this is where Mrs. Harris keeps her unmentionables. I like the ones with the frills and the stitched cat. Paperwork and receipts. Nothing particularly interesting here. More lacy underthings. I wonder which Harris they belong to. Paperwork and receipts.
But why?
Mr. Harris's color selection is almost as drab as yours.
Let's see if there's anything of interest in any of the pockets.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mr. Harris is a fan of the ponies, is he? I'm sure that's not causing him any trouble at all.
Yeah.
Mr. Harris's color... Mr. Harris's color... Mr.
Okay, we found a lot of stuff here.
Painting of the city. Oh, another four-poster. The Harris family certainly makes no secret of their wealth.
Alright. Let's go out here and talk. I think I'll talk with Malcolm first.
I have some questions for you, Mr. Harris.
Yes, of course.
Tell me everything you can about the kidnapping.
Yes.
I don't know much. I was out last night while it happened.
Where had you been previously?
I was out with friends. My wife can verify the time I arrived home.
I see.
I know this attitude all too well. This man is hiding something. Most likely from his wife.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt his voice is from beyond the grave, so the question is, what's his secret?
Yes.
I found this letter in your bedroom. What can you tell me about it?
You went through our things?
I'm a private investigator, Mr. Harris. It's part of my job.
Of all the insolence!
You're upset, I know, but do you want me to find your son or don't you?
Yes, of course I do.
Yeah.
That letter was sent to me by mistake. It was written to my father. Well, if you can even call that writing.
Yeah.
Have I ever mentioned how much I hate rich people? Because I really hate rich people.
Your father. Doesn't he own the company building the new airship?
Yes, that's right. He's been receiving many letters just like that one since the Lygia disaster. But that Devons fellow in particular has sent one every week, along with a bag of chicken bones and dust.
How peculiar.
Not only that, he leads a daily protest in front of the construction yard where the HMS Lenore is being built, trying to halt production. My God! How did I not see this before?
See what?
Devons! He has a grudge against this family because of what happened with the Lygia. I put money on him being involved with the kidnapping somehow, as a form of retaliation.
I'll just have to speak with Mr. Devons and see for myself.
Yes. Alright.
I found this bit of torn fabric by the broken window. Do you know anything about it?
Looks like it came from a piece of clothing. Possibly a jacket.
Did the initials SS mean anything to you?
Maybe? I can't really say. You'll have to excuse me, Mr. Fordham. I've got quite a lot on my mind right now. If I can think of anything, I'll be sure to let you know.
Mr. Harris, what can you tell me about these?
What? How did you...
Listen, I'm trying to help you and your family. I can't do it if I don't get the entire truth.
Do you think we could discuss this somewhere more private?
I suppose we could.
Good. Let's move to the nursery then.
Yeah, I can imagine gambling he doesn't want to talk about in front of the missus.
Shall we continue our conversation, Mr. Harris?
Yes, of course.
Now that your wife is out of earshot, tell me about the kidnapping and what these betting stubs have to do with it.
Right. As I said before, it had already happened when I got home. I had just come from spending the evening at the meadows.
Ah.
I see. I take it your wife isn't impressed by your hobby?
I promised her weeks ago that I would stop going, but I've had such a good streak lately. The last thing I wanted was to upset her further, yet it would be foolish of me to just give up on something so promising.
Hey.
Can you think of anyone who might want to do you harm by taking your son?
Several, I'm afraid.
Go on.
I haven't exactly had the best of luck, Mr. Fordham. That's why this latest streak was so important to me. The truth is, I've gambled away most of my money. I've had to take out several loans so Miriam doesn't get suspicious.
Oh my
If
god.
she ever found out, it would be over. I can't lose her, Mr. Fordham. I just can't.
Where have I heard this before? You know, things would be so much easier if people just talked to each other.
I've tried doing business above board, but lately I've had to seek other resources.
What do you mean?
I was forced to visit a lending office. The owner was a rather shady Sambo, but I figured he'd be easier to deal with than the usual sheenies that run those type of places.
Can you believe this guy? Maybe we should just leave the kid be. He'd probably be better raised by wolves.
Who was the owner?
Mr. LaFay. I didn't bother to get his first name. His business is an abattoir row in Chumley. Horrid place. But I was desperate.
You think this Mr. LaFay may have taken your son as collateral?
Let's just say there isn't much those type of people wouldn't do to put a crown in my pocket.
Okay. Let's ask about the baby.
Tell me about your son.
Charles is a good boy. Very quiet. Miriam had wanted a child almost from the moment we married. You know how women are when they have their hearts set on something. I saw no need to rush, but
Nice to know you're not the only one. Hey, Miles.
the first 2 times Miriam was with child, she suffered some unfortunate accidents. She was devastated, as you can imagine. So when Charles finally came along, he turned out to be quite a blessing. I can't imagine what sort of depraved madman would take him from us like this. You must find him, Mr. Fordham.
I intend to, Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Tell me about yourself.
There isn't much to tell, really. My life has been fairly well publicized in the newspapers.
Let's pretend for a moment that I skip over the society pages.
Well, I'm an investor. My father Clyde runs Harris Construction Company, which I will someday inherit. And the other details about me are fairly trivial nonsense, I think.
Alright.
I found this button in your son's crib. Does it look familiar at all?
No, not at all. Do you think the kidnapper might have left it behind?
It's
It's a
possible.
distinct possibility.
Alright.
How goes the construction of the new airship?
There have been some complications, but nothing we can't handle.
Well,
Could you be a bit more specific?
Well, I already told you about the trouble with protesters at the yard, and we're blocked pending Royal Maverick's review of the safety regulations for the prototype etheric diffusion engines. Agitators and red tape aside, we should still be on schedule to have the Lenore finished and in the air by the end of the year. But really, Mr. Fordham, what the deuce does this have to do with finding Charles?
He has a point, you know.
Those are all the questions I had for now.
All right. If you don't mind, Mr. Fordham, I'm going back to the living room. I don't want Miriam getting suspicious.
and I think with that, we're going to call it an episode here. As always, this is Rich, and next time we're going to question the missus and try and get more clues and locations to go to. As always, this is Rich Kale here on YouTube, Rich Gen X elsewhere, inviting you to subscribe to the channel and check out some of the other playthroughs I've been doing. I have played through other point-and-click adventures, such as Kathy Rain, A Detective is Born, I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, and some others. I am also working my way through other games. I'm working my way through the Tomb Raider franchise, currently on Tomb Raider The Last Revelation. I will be ending that with Tomb Raider Chronicles. I am working my way through the Sherlock Holmes series of games by Frogwares, currently working on the 4th game release, which is the current 4th one in the series chronology. That will change next year when Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1 comes out. And the game I'm working on is Sherlock Holmes vs. Arsene Lupin, or Sherlock Holmes Nemesis. I'm also working my way through had a brain fart. Through Aliens vs. Predator, the 2010 release. I'm currently on the Marines campaign. I am also working my way through the Henry Stickmin collection. I am also taking a tour through The Witness. I figure we need a nice relaxing one in there. And I am working my way through the Zork franchise. Going way back for the games in that one. Currently working on Zork Zero. And I also have added Gibbous, a Cthulhu adventure, to the playlist, and that one's turning into a joy to play. As of always, again, this is Rich Kale here on YouTube, Rich Gen X elsewhere, inviting you to subscribe to the channel. Take care and have a good one, all. Goodbye. Oh, let me just save the game here. It would help to do that, wouldn't it? Take care.